Port-au-Prince. I'm not sure we're going to go to Port-au-Prince. I'm not sure we're going to go to Canton. We are going to go to Miami. That is the one thing I definitely want to do here. So I'm going to sell that. What have we got? Valuable in Hawaii. Oh. No. I'm going to take this. Because that's the direction I want to go. Okay. Let's plan a bit. Right, so we can get to Havana. That would be good. We can get there. Departs tomorrow. Yes, and then we can get to Miami. I'm not sure what the route to New Orleans suggests, but okay. That's what we'll do, I think. We'll get there. But for going to bed, I intended on Monsieur Fogg before he dies. Right. Yes. Oh. Damn it. Alright, fine. Oh, I need that. Okay. Let's go! I'm sure you'll love my reasoning for all of that. What can I sell later? We met a Haitian businessman on the banks of the Buffalo Bayou as he checked the oil pressure of a shiny chrome and timber framed hydrofoil. Your own personal craft, monsieur? I asked as I approached. The man turned around. You should know I have a personal bodyguard aboard should you feel like trying your hand, he remarked. That was not my intention at all, I exclaimed, affronted. My master quietly cut into my fumblings. We wish you to take us to Cuba. Can that be arranged? You seem like a gentleman, he replied. American? I allowed Monsieur Fogg his reply. Certainly not. The man smiled. Then you're welcome aboard. Find those Americans to be parochial. But I'd love to hear how things are in Europe. To Cuba, you say? Why ever not? I've been meaning to take her for a spin. I assisted the man in checking his engine as Monsieur Fogg settled himself aboard. Then the man leapt to the wheel and gunned the engine. The magnetic coils glowed into life, and we zoomed away across the water. Cool. I'm not sure what I'm really doing here. Mainly, I'm just trying to get to... Look at this thing! We're on a giant skimming... This whole thing. We had a long day on the waves in the company of Monsieur Henri Boyer. The craft moved in slow arcs, rising slowly until we almost rolling backwards along the deck, and then slapping down on the water once more. Moves the way a croupier deals cards, Monsieur Boyer remarked with a smile. I find it most relaxing. You are a gambler, monsieur? He shrugged. I played a hand or two. You know the game poker? I played it a lot north of here. My master prefers whist, I confided. He is a most formidable opponent. I'm sure he is, Henri answered. Whist's a game for mathematicians and accountants. Poker is a game for simple, dishonest men, he grinned. We should play, you and I. Very well, I declared cheerfully. I warn you, he replied more soberly. We'll play for real stakes. The minimum bet will be £50 in each round. The ante will be 100. That seems quite acceptable, I answered. Monsieur Henri brought out a pack of cards and began to deal, giving me 2, and himself 2 also. I gently lifted the corners of mine as we each laid £100 on the table for an ante. In my hand I held the 4 and 10 of hearts. Not auspicious, but not a disaster either. Henri looked at his own cards and nodded to himself. Monsieur Henri dealt 3 more cards face down upon the table. This is the flop, he declared. He turned over the first card of the 3, revealing a 2 of clubs. I sighed with some disappointment. It was not a heart, and thus my chance at a flush disappeared. Across the table, Henri sighed heavily. To begin, my tutor explained, we may bet, and match our bets, or else either one can fold. How on earth did I end up doing poker? I don't actually know how to play poker. I want to make that clear before we continue. So I don't have a chance of a flop, but whatever. No, I fold, he declared. I gathered up the money, some £250 swiftly. That was enough for me. I thanked him as diplomatically as I could for the game, because this is not my money that we're playing with, just to be clear either. This is Fogg's money. I had walked away with a profit of £100, but Monsieur Boyer did not seem to mind. He shrugged. That is the game. There is always a winner and a loser. The ship lifted up and smashed down once more, ending our conversation like the fall of a gavel. Well, that was weird. I really need to figure out how to play poker someday, so that when I get caught up in a James Bond-like villain situation, I actually know what I'm doing. We travelled the second day largely in silence, as though worn out from the mental energy of our game the day before. I had still not confessed the outcome of the game to my master, and was rather hoping he would not come to notice the sudden improvement in our finances. Either way, I stayed at the prow and caught no one's eye. Games, I reflected, must be a cause of crime second only to love and money in severity. How easy it was for the most minor slights to feel like inflamed sores. Oh. Here is Havana. After several hours, the boat skidded within view of the Cuban shoreline. I was more than grateful to escape this den of gambling. I had dreamed nothing but cards and pairs for the last 2 nights. Havana sparkled on the shoreline, a beautiful city and a haven. Then, just as we stepped ashore, we heard first one gunshot, then another. I began to have doubts, but it was too late. Monsieur Boyer had gunned the engine and skidded away. Okay, we're getting there. Where are we now? Oh, yeah, let's do that. Sure. Everybody seems to want the altimeter. What have we got? Valuable in Miami, Caracas, Atlanta, Port Royal, Chicago, Ponta Delgado. Okay, I'll just have more sugarcane, I guess. Will I end up in Atlanta? Who knows? I don't actually know where Atlanta is, but sure. New Orleans. I'm not going backwards. I'm going to say I just kind of want an amethyst, to be honest. Sure, why not? Let's buy things. So, when is the trip to Miami? 3 days? That's so long. Ugh, and it's £1,000 to speed them up. By 2 days. Freaking hell. We found Havana to be in a sorry state, locked down by its Spanish rulers with a voluntary militia patrolling the cobbled streets, slapping their sticks against the orange-washed walls. Spies, are you? One such demanded of me. I'm a valet. A valet? He replied with surprise, then laughed. A slave, then. You show your ignorance, sir, I told him archly. And what exactly does your master do, travelling as he does? He demanded in return. Spying! It is a wager, I replied. A wager? The man replied, almost shocked. There are countries on brink of bloody revolt, of civil unrest, and you blunder through them for a late wager. You must be mad. So saying, he let go of my collar. Will you be in Havana long? Do you know the fastest way we could leave? I asked in reply. On a prison boat back to America, the man growled. So watch who you talk to. With that, he and his militiamen trooped away, machetes slapping against their thighs as they walked, and I shivered to watch them go. Okay, that did not go that well. But look, he's recovering a bit, so maybe having a few days resting in the Caribbean, so we could go to Port Royal today, but I need to get to Miami. Miami is where I want to go. 2 days still. Can it still be altered? Tomorrow for £1,000. No, I can't afford it. I need the money. We don't know when we'll need it. With what remained of the day, I attended to Monsieur Fogg. At least he's now up to 70 because we're doing this. So again, yeah, we're just gonna have to wait again. And then we can finally get going to Miami. Let's go. Let's go. Oh, it's a sailing ship called Sweet Estelle. We boarded a trading vessel for the day's sail to Miami, captained by a Cuban lady, Madame Maria Alonso, who lazed at the stern shouting instructions to her crew. They were unthinkingly obedient, which made me suspect there was some depth to the Madame which was not apparent. I became beset by curiosity. Perhaps the provocation would bring her qualities to the fore. I am enjoying this little ship, actually. I quite like little ships. Great. I don't know where we go from Miami, I must admit. Join me, called the Madame from her reclining seat. You seem to be in charge of your strange little duo. You are mistaken, I told her formally. I am a mere valet. She rolled her eyes. Tell me, my charming little valet, she continued, do you like the theatre? It has been a long time since I saw a play, I confessed, though occasionally on our adventures I feel as though I am in one. Love, lust, and adventure, she demanded. Ah, closer to a farce, I fear, I replied. Ha! She smiled. Havana has some of the best theatres in the world. I used to walk the stage, you know. Is that so, madame? Oh, indeed, she replied. It was playing the part of Ophelia, my crowning moment. Then I walked over an unsecured trapdoor and shattered my spine. I winced, without meaning to, and she nodded. It was rather worse than that, she agreed, but your sympathy is appreciated. There was a great beauty of Havana in my youth, you know. Now I am rather more like a pickle out here in the sun. Still, I do love to sail. As do I replied, and she nodded with some approval. You may pet my hand if you like, she said after some more time. I will not feel it. The sun set across the glittering sea, and the warm winds blew us gently into port. The sailors began to roll barrels of sugar down the ramp, while their captain lay back in her chair, still moving little more than one hand. I must admit I admired her command, though I did not see how it could last for much longer. So musing, we gathered our things and disembarked. Just then, my master called, and I hurried away onto American soil. We will have to sleep here and explore in the morning. Absolutely. We just wanted to feel better. Miami is a town of little over 300, ruled with a gentle iron fist by their governess, one Julia de Forest Sutherland, the owner of a large orange grove on the north side of the river. It was small enough that we found Michel Arden, the rocketeer from Zurich, by mere chance as he waited outside a smithy in the main street. Ah, Monsieur Fogg, he cried, waving a hand. Did you hope to come this way and then avoid me? Indeed not, monsieur. My master has spoken of little else, I answered cheerfully, pleased to see a familiar face. Well, here I am, as I said I would be, Monsieur Arden continued, buying last pieces for the capsule. Our preparations are all but complete. You are still intending to reach the moon? Indeed I am. Our little mission is ready, and my co-pilot and I are making final preparations. Here, I'll introduce you. Barbicane, a large American lady, emerged from the smithy, holding a wrench in one hand. What's the commotion? She declared. Do you want the alternator to work, or don't you? I stepped in and introduced myself. Madame Barbicane, I began. I am Passepartout, valet to Monsieur Phileas Fogg. We are going around the world. Are you? She replied with an amused smile. Well, we are as well, after a manner of speaking. Not around it, declared Monsieur Fogg with evident pleasure. You're planning to abandon it completely. Quite right, Madame Barbicane agreed. Just what we are planning. We retired to a cafe to discuss matters, and here Madame Barbicane consumed a colossal amount of coffee and explained every detail to Monsieur Fogg's great satisfaction with her hands. The capsule is ready, the cannon is prepared and loaded. There is nothing standing in our way now. Do you have room aboard? I demanded. Indeed we do, Barbicane said. If you can make it to the launch site. The craft is being assembled in Nassau, Arden explained. We sail as soon as possible, and from there we will board the craft and not stop until the moon is reached or will explode in the stratosphere. That may still happen, Barbicane said. We cannot be certain that the stratosphere is not a solid layer of ice. The conditions up there suggest it. Nonsense, Monsieur Fogg declared. An ice layer would have colossal mass and be pulled to Earth by gravity. Barbicane's response was swift and cutting. Eggs do not collapse in on themselves, mister. There simply needs to be a solid spherical shell. It is true we cannot be 100% certain what we'll find, Arden put in. Especially once we leave the stratosphere for outer space. There may be great winds up there, or the vacuum of the universe may cause exponential pressure differentials that our craft cannot tolerate. There are multiple points of theory to establish, Barbicane agreed. In short, Monsieur Fogg finished, that is why we are all going. Master, what did you say? I demanded, suddenly alarmed. Passepartout, you did not think we were merely conversing to pass the time, did you? I did not dare to hope, I exclaimed. The moon! Indeed, Monsieur Phileas Fogg said calmly. Think, Passepartout, you'll be the first valet on the moon. The company rose and shook hands with each other. We must prepare our affairs and meet again in Nassau. Until then, and with that, we retired to a hotel, myself trembling with excitement.